God is the author, sustainer, and preserver of life. Life is the greatest and most sacred gift we received from God. We must make every effort to preserve not only the life of human beings, but also of everything God has created, including the nature around us. Then rather than just asking God for solving our problems, we pray for stronger faith and to have a special place for us in His heart. Today, as we try to touch Jesus, we also pray that Jesus might touch and heal us from all our sickness.
From the Gospel according to Mark. Mark chapter 5, verses 21 to 43. When Jesus had crossed again in the boat to the other side, a large crowd gathered around him, and he stayed close to the sea. One of the synagogue officials, named Jairus, came forward. Seeing him, he fell at his feet and pleaded earnestly with him, saying, "My daughter is at the point of death. Please come lay your hands on her, that she may get well and live." He went off with him, and a large crowd followed him and pressed upon him.
Jairus is different. He is friendly, loving, and humble. He is in need, and his only concern is that Jesus would come and heal his daughter before it's too late.
There was a woman afflicted with hemorrhages for 12 years. She had suffered greatly at the hands of many doctors and had spent all that she had. Yet she was not helped, but only grew worse. She had heard about Jesus and came up behind him in the crowd and touched his cloak. She said, "If I but touch his clothes, I shall be cured." Immediately her flow of blood dried up. She felt in her body that she was healed of her affliction. Jesus, aware at once that power had gone out from him, turned around in the crowd and asked, "Who has touched my clothes?" But his disciples said to Jesus, "You see how the crowd is pressing upon you, and yet you ask, 'Who touched me?'" And he looked around to see who had done it. The woman, realizing what had happened to her, approached in fear and trembling. She fell down before Jesus and told him the whole truth. He said to her, "Daughter, your faith has saved you. Go in peace and be cured of your affliction."
There were many people who touched Jesus that day, but only this woman could touch Jesus with faith and bring forth the healing power from him. Her physical healing is the result of her spiritual life. She believed, prayed, and touched, and thus got healed. We might have to come to church as usual, but today we may have to touch, experience, and begin a personal relationship with Jesus. Just have faith in the healing power of Jesus. Then grace and power can flow from Him into our lives, changing us forever.
While he was still speaking, people from the synagogue official's house arrived and said, "Your daughter has died. Why trouble the teacher any longer?" Disregarding the message that was reported, Jesus said to the synagogue official, "Do not be afraid, just have faith." He did not allow anyone to accompany him inside except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. When they arrived at the house of the synagogue official, he caught sight of a commotion, people weeping and wailing loudly. So he went in and said to them, "Why this commotion and weeping? The child is not dead, but asleep." And they ridiculed him. Then he put them all out. He took along the child's father and mother and those who were with him, and entered the room where the child was. He took the child by the hand and said to her, "Talitha kum," which means, "Little girl, I say to you, arise." The girl, a child of 12, arose immediately and walked around. At that, they were utterly astounded. He gave strict orders that no one should know this, and said that she should be given something to eat.
The unwavering faith of Jairus was the main reason for Jesus to perform this great miracle, giving life back to a dead person. Also, Jesus wants them to understand that death is not the end of human life, as God is in charge of our lives. We need God's power to overcome death and create us anew.